And so the Key to Time saga comes to an end with the Armageddon factor, and you get 6 chapters as they bring it all to a close. It's very significant because, well, it concludes the Key to Time saga, if you will, but it also introduces quite a bit of significant matters for Doctor Who overall. Most notably, of course, Lalla Ward appears here as Princess Astria, and surprise, she is the final segment of the Key to Time. But also, of course, she succeeds Mary Tam as the next incarnation of Romana, and we'll follow up on that in the next adventure for Doctor Who. But there you go. Lalla Ward's a cute lady, but Mary Tam, wow. And she goes out looking absolutely fantastic. So there's that. There's also, and this is one of the elements where I kind of refer to this as one of the weaker chapters in the Key to Time story. There's a third Time Lord in this, and I absolutely and completely forgot all about this character. I don't know how long it's been since I watched this one, but in rewatching it, and it's a bit of a shoehorn in it. I mean, it explains, he's there to explain certain elements of it and how, but I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it was unnecessary. Because it could have just all been the villain, and we have several villains here. First, first we meet the Marshal, who appears to be he's a warmonger and all this stuff, and there's this war going on between these two planets, Atreus and Zeos. And later on we discover that Zeos is completely dead. Atreus must have won a long time ago. They're all gone, and their war machines being run by computer. Later we discover that was programmed by this other Time Lord who just appears within the real villain, or we think is the real villain, a character known as the Shadow. No, not Lamont Cranston, but the Shadow knows. And this is the pawn, or I don't know, sentry or whatever have you, of the Black Guardian, but his plan was to simply wait for the Doctor to find all the other segments of the key and then steal them all. And apparently he's been waiting for all eternity to do this, so apparently he's immortal. But he just kind of looks like Skeletor's, dumb brother that he never talks about. So, and in the end, the real villain, of course, is the Black Guardian himself, who tries to fool the Doctor by posing as the White Guardian, and the Doctor doesn't fall for that. So you've got this the war drama of the two planets. You've got a set that's kind of, and I didn't really study it that hard, but maybe it's kind of swapping around set pieces from the Pirate Planet episode. I don't know. But there's good characters in it. Especially the Marshal's a pretty good character. He's really weird and messed up and reminiscent of out of Doctor Strangelove. But it's not really his fault. He's a pawn of the Shadow. He's got this little control not sphere, but cube on his neck, and it makes him a slave of the Shadow. But he pretty sure he wanted absolute victory. Even though the war was long over, just didn't know it. He has a comical henchman there. Atreus, or Astra, sorry, has this boyfriend who's, oh no, long suffering and everything. But of course, he's really dependent on the Doctor, Romana, and K9 to actually be the real heroes here, and all of that. So of course, a lot of struggle and adventure, getting captured and whatnot. And then ultimately solving the whole deal when they discover that, Astra is the actual segment. She becomes part of the key, and then it's this realization that she would be trapped forever as the key to time. I mean, that's what kind of gives the big clue that this isn't the White Guardian, because he wouldn't allow someone to suffer like that. So There you go. That's how they win it. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. Go see it. And for the completion of the entire saga, you need to, and all that. But I had forgotten all about Drax. No, not the Marvel Comics character. This is another rogue Time Lord, and he ended up working for the Shadow to make the computer Mentalis or whatever, I forget the name, that ran the Zeos war machine, and was then the reason that this show's called Armageddon Factor is that it had decided to just destroy both planets, and that would be the ultimate victory for Zeos, even though they're all dead. But Drax ends up being locked up on the Shadow. They called it the Shadow's planet, but it looks like a space station. So, but anyway, and so the Doctor gets captured as well, and they just literally bump into each other. And then it is of some interest to note that Drax refers to the Doctor in the name of Theta Sigma. Now, there you go. There's the Doctor's name. Mystery solved. It's over. I guess this is referring to, this is just what they called him in the Academy. He's another Time Lord that he went in the Academy for. This Time Lord didn't do as well. He had to, I guess, have a do-over or whatever. And then eventually left on his own. And so I guess you can refer to this as yet another character who looked into the vortex, the schism, and instead of going mad, he was frightened and ran away. So he's running like the Doctor does, but he's basically kind of a tinkering, cheap con man running around offering technological deals. Not necessarily evil, but not really on the up and up either. So but he does refer to the Doctor as Theta Sigma. Now, and then, or Theet, because they say, oh, I've looked it up online. There's some sites that says, oh, this was just one of the Doctor's nicknames, and it's what they called him in the Academy and all that. Boy, I tell you, this comes across, because the nickname is Theet. It's a nickname of Theta Sigma, Of course, the overall idea is that you never know the Doctor's name. Otherwise, it kind of, takes away from the title Doctor Who. Of course, Missy said his name was Doctor Who. It could be that Who is actually a Gallifreyan name. And he got his doctorate, and there you go. See? Answers the whole thing. But then there was all this stuff about, if you ever spoke the name, and then you can't pronounce it and all that. But Theta Sigma is pretty easy to pronounce. So I guess you have to go with that this was some college nickname that he had while at the Academy, and that's about it. So yeah, who knows? But it certainly appears it's like, were they intending that to be, the Doctor objects is, it's just Doctor now. He says, oh, okay. Whatever. But, so, he's a Time Lord who apparently developed a Cockney accent because he got stuck in in prison, of course. And so there you go. I guess he's stuck with it. And then you never see him again. I'm guessing there's been novels and Big Finish maybe did some. I don't know, but there's a character you could have revisited, but he just shows up, and I don't know that it was all that necessary. You could have just, like the computer and all that, and said, well, the Shadow did that. And, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. So, of course, Romana, this will be our final episode with Mary Tam. She does return as Romana for Big Finish until, unfortunately, her passing away. But there is this scene, because when we get to her regeneration in the next episode of Destiny of the Daleks, it's like, why it's put off kind of as a joke there, and yet you can see here in a moment within the episode where the Shadow captures her, and questions her and tortures her to get information, and she's literally being electrocuted. There's these lightning bolts striking her and all that, and he in the shadow does it again to force the doctor to do his bidding. But and I kind of wondered if she's putting up a brave front towards the end there, and that maybe she was more seriously injured than either realized, or certainly the doctor wasn't aware of it, and then suddenly she's regenerating, because you're still dealing with only the 12 regenerations, so to do it just out of fashion because you thought this other girl was cute and you wanted to look like her, yeah, that's not so for my headcanon, I'm going with that she suffered serious injury and figured, well, I'm going to have to regenerate. So I guess I'll go with that. Because it seems other Time Lords have more control over their appearance, whereas the Doctor just never could get a handle on it, even though now they stipulate that he is the source of it, which is so incredibly stupid. Oh my God, I can't stand it. So I'll just ignore it. So it just plays into that the Doctor's a genius, but at the same time eccentric and bungles around. So he certainly has not been able to control his appearance and his regeneration choices, but they have shown us where he's influenced. And certainly with the case of Peter Capaldi's incarnation, where they revealed that this was the guy in Pompeii that the Doctor actually looked at, and it stuck subliminally in his mind, and then surprise, there he is. And then you can also make the argument the Sixth Doctor, the Fifth Doctor was influenced by Commander Maxwell, and of course played by Colin Baker. So Colin Baker succeeds Peter Davison, and there you go. It's in the back of his mind by the man who shot him. And when he regenerates, he looks like this guy. It's just an image that's in there somewhere, and it influences the regeneration process. So the same, but in the case of Ramona, it appears she absolutely controlled it and chose it. But the Doctor just he's not good at it. That's it. So of course the Black Guardian becomes a recurring villain going forward for a while. I haven't seen much of him since, and as far as the White Guardian, I don't know if we ever see him again, unless, I'm not talking about novels and Big Finish and that sort of thing, but television wise, or unless I'm slipping on that. But it hasn't appeared in the new series, and I kind of wondered if if it was ever said or established that they're wiped out because of the Time War. And I remember seeing somewhere, I guess in like a comment section on a Doctor Who YouTube video or something, where someone, I thought it was a pretty cool idea, was that why not establish that the Doctor and the Master are now the new White Guardian and Black Guardian. But I don't know if that fits into it now that, the Time Lords, well, I guess they're dead again now if you want to accept current Doctor Who as canon. That they're not the only ones left, or it also plays into the Dr. God a template that keeps being played out now, which I absolutely do not like. If only in a metaphorical sense, which I thought is what Russell T Davies was insinuating, but the idea that he's actually Dr. God or she is Dr. No, I don't like that. So I think it just takes away where you're getting into Superman territory, which I don't think is fair to Superman, but it is a common problem. People complain about it. He's too powerful and indestructible that there's no point in the story. Well, if the Doctor Who becomes Dr. God, then yeah, there's no point. He really becomes rather cruel, as that because he's just playing. There's no stakes at all. So anyway, Armageddon factor rounds out Key to Time, and the era of Tom Baker is quickly coming to an end, as this where even the look of Doctor Who will change and all of that, and we'll see how that plays out in the second to last season for the Fourth Doctor. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies. with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr. Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.